Welcome back to another episode. What's Your Story with Mike Lindstrom and Scott Leese. It's hard to believe we've had 10 episodes on our belt. Last week we had Mark Kerr, The Smashing Machine. By the way, The Smashing Machine, if you haven't seen that movie, go see it. The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, DJ himself is up for a Golden Globe playing Mark Kerr's character. Him and his wife were on our couch last week. It was an amazing time. Listen to all the stories behind the scenes of the movie. So here we are, episode 11. We have Yetta Gibson, journalist. She's an influencer. She has her own magazine show on television, Arizona's Family, The Original. It's like her own TV podcast. She gets to interview like the Jacksons, Little John the Rapper, NBA stars, NFL players, travel on the national shows and the circuit to talk about the people that she gets to meet kind of behind the scenes. And she sits on our couch this week and tells us some cool stories about some people that she's interviewed, some good stories, some so not good stories. That's the tease. So I want to give a shout out to Yetta. Yetta's a personal friend of mine. She was one of the first people who interviewed me back in 2008 when I was working very closely with Yetta Gibson. Yes, the OG from the OC, Real Housewives of Orange County. Vicky came into Scottsdale. We hosted a big party, a launch for the book and a bunch of stuff we had done. And Yetta was live on air. She was with Fox at the time, interviewing Yetta Gibson and I. We'll have to show you some clips, pretty cool stuff. So Yetta's always been very supportive of my work, and I want to be supportive of her work, and it's an honor to have her on our show. What's Your Story? Enjoy it. Episode 11, Yetta Gibson. Mike Lindstrom, my man, Scott Leese, What's Your Story podcast. We are back. I'm so excited today.
It's good to be back in Scottsdale.
Yeah, I know. Good to have you back in Scottsdale. Where's this rain coming from?
I might have brought some of it.
I think you did. From Texas. And we were last time we were doing recordings, it was like 115 out, and we were sweating. You were worried about me and the AC, but now it's like we're worried about my wet head. So I'm excited. Really, really great stories that are going to be coming here in this episode. Yetta Gibson. Yetta Gibson has many, many monikers. Above all, friend, longstanding friend, one of the first people who helped me get comfortable in front of one of these, a camera, and we'll talk about that live on camera here in a little bit. Influencer, host, the original, we call it original with Yetta Gibson. And she's going to talk about some of the magazine shows, people that she's interviewed. So, and mother, of course, Mama Bear. So first of all, thank you, Yetta.
Oh my gosh, all of those things?
All those things.
That was weird to hear. As you know, I'm from Atlanta. I have made my way somehow all the way to Arizona. I started in radio. I'm a radio girl at heart. If you know what, if radio paid the bills, I'd still be there because I could go in my pajamas and I don't have to get all dolled up and I could still do what I love. So I started in Atlanta. I worked in the CNN Center. That was my first job for this man named Tom Joyner. You ever heard of him?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
He was, the radio station was located inside the CNN Center. So in my head back then, I was going to work for Tom Joyner and then go upstairs and work for CNN. That's how my career was going.
Makes sense.
Well, it did make sense, actually. But what I did do was I got one of the photographers from upstairs, and we were not affiliated. This is a radio station that happened to be in the CNN Center that was not related to the CNN Center, right? So we went around, this camera guy, I paid him $300, and we came up with a resume reel. It was fake. I was doing fake stories. It was a great tape that I ended up sending around the country. And my first call came from Albany, Georgia, and I took the job. That was the first.
Did you even know where that was?
I'm from Georgia. I'm from.
Yeah, I mean, but Albany's like a small town, right?
It's a very small town. It's about 2.5 hours away, and every weekend I was back home in Atlanta because it sucked so bad.
Yeah.
It was my first piece of experience in TV. I stayed there for about a year, and then I went to Las Vegas.
So how that happened? Were you looking? Because I know in TV land, you're always kind of looking to move up to a market, right?
Right.
How did that? Tell us about the progression.
Okay, so I might be a little off on the memory, but back then when I started, there's about 212 television markets. Number one being New York. Albany was about 160, right? I know. Wow. So the whole time, you keep the stuff that's good that you've done on camera and you create another resume tape. Well, this time the resume tape was real, right? So I created another resume tape and started sending that out while I was working in Albany. It's crazy. My parents, they were big Vegas visitors. We went to Vegas a lot as kids. So Vegas was one of the places I sent my tape because I thought I would see them, right? They still go to Vegas. I sent my tape to Vegas. They called me up for an interview. And by the time I flew back to Atlanta from Vegas, they had offered me the job.
Wow.
Yeah. And I told my dad, I go, I have a job in Vegas. He goes, no way. I go, yes. So then he bought a house immediately in Vegas. Probably I was his excuse to do that because he just wanted to do that.
It's a good excuse.
So I stayed in Vegas for 4 years. I lived there for 4 years. I still have my place there. So I consider myself still a
Really?
Vegas. Yeah.
I did not know that.
I love Vegas.
I did not know that.
I would live in Vegas again.
Well, did not know
Wow.
that.
Yeah. So if you need anything with Vegas, let me know.
Trust me,
Because
speed
that's kind
dial.
of my town.
Speed dial. I have your cell phone.
Yes.
So in executive coaching, we always talk about you're either running to something or you're running from something.
Ooh.
So Vegas,
Yeah.
you keep moving up. So why Vegas to
By
Phoenix?
the way, just to keep putting it in perspective, Albany was about 150, 160. Vegas was in the 50s.
Okay.
Big leap.
So it was a big jump.
Yeah.
And then Phoenix. So were we running to something or were we running from something?
I don't know if I was doing either one of those things. I guess running to a bigger market. Back, when I was younger, that was the goal for, us TV peeps. You want to get to the top, the tippy top. New York is the goal,
Yeah.
or LA is the goal, because LA on that list is about number 2.
Mhm.
So,
So
That's still the goal, though,
yeah.
because you get to a particular place in life, and then
yeah.
life happens,
Yeah.
and maybe
Kids.
it's not so easy to just keep going up, or maybe you just become happy and comfortable where you are. And
Yeah. Well, after, here's the thing with moving for this business. You have to uproot and reroute everywhere you go. So that gets old, right? You pull, you leave Vegas where you've got a system and friends and family, and then you go to a new city where you don't know anybody. And at that particular station, you start from the bottom and move up. To do that every couple years, kind of gets old.
Tell me about Phoenix. When you came to Phoenix, you and I met let's call it 16 years ago. I can't believe
Was
it's
it
been
really?
16 years ago. We'll talk about
So
some of
I
that
was
stuff.
16. Okay.
So when you got here, who were you with? What was your role? And what has been the story in the Phoenix market?
Yeah.
'Cause you have your own show, Original, which is amazing. You're doing some, that's your creation. That's your baby. You're interviewing some pretty amazing people.
Well, here's the
How'd
thing.
that start?
Here's what's it started with you.
Oh,
No, seriously, listen to me. It started with people like you, because when I started in Phoenix, I was what you call a general assignment reporter. And what that is, on the streets, the beats, the crashes, the fires, and anything they put you on for the day. What I really wanted to do was interviews, and I wanted to do anything except for the blood and guts of it all, right?
Yeah.
And so what ended up happening at Fox was I became an entertainment reporter. So they would send me to LA to do American Idol as my claim to fame at Fox 10. I covered Jordan and all those people. And so what ended up happening is that became my beat. So when your stuff came up, it was my type of stuff. So what happened, because I was at Fox for 7 years. So what happened is I built that space, for myself, of not just doing news, but also interviewing the other folks and the other stuff that was going on. So what has happened over at Channel 3 and 5 is that's kind of my thing, because I started doing that. So that's how that happened.
so I heard Oprah Winfrey meets Barbara Walters. Is that true?
That's how I was described.
you're not mad at that?
Not bad, huh?
Not mad at it.
Yes, that's the open to my show. I believe Cheryl Underwood said that about me when I was interviewing her.
Huge compliment.
I mean, I'm not mad anytime somebody puts my name in a sentence with Oprah. So let's do it. Barbara Walters as well. But, here's the thing. I'm interested in people's stories. And, I got to be careful what I say here. But, I don't want to bring people bad news all the time. I think that there's a lot of interesting people out there, and I think people want to know about it. People want to be uplifted, and they want to hear how people got to where they are. I mean, look at this. I want to interview you right now, because how did this happen? 16 years, we kind of had a gap. since we've seen each other the last time, and I'm sitting here on your show. How did this happen? So I would want to know that.
Yeah.
And that's what my show is about.
So reference point for our guests, and Scott, you and I watched this last night. I showed you the tape.
Yep.
The
I had a laugh. Mike looked a little bit younger, maybe. A little bit more facial hair. A little scruff on his chin.
What the hell was that? You should have told me.
Yeah. You look back at those things and say, man, somebody should have got me.
It's funny. You sent me that I was watching that during a commercial break. I was on the news when you sent me that. I was like, and blah, 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 blah. Here's what they had to say. And I'm like, what is this that Mike sent me? It was funny.
So it was.
It's been a long time.
The show. Tell us about the episode.
So the episode that Mike randomly sent me last night was he and I was a reporter, entertainment, and you had this event that was featuring Vicki Gunvalson,
Housewives.
the Housewives of Orange County. And I remember talking to you back then. You were her coach. Yeah. And you told me what you were doing then, because I was like, when you called me and said that, I go, wait, Vicki from Orange County? You go, yes. How did that even happen?
Yeah. So that was, they were filming whatever season that was. And I was introduced to friends in the insurance industry.
Okay.
Introduced. That was one of my niches. And she has Coda Insurance, of course, still does.
Okay.
And she's one of the only housewives, and she's very proud of it. That's her own entrepreneur, self-made, right? Fame didn't make her, money, her last name didn't make her. She's self-made, and she was a single mom, raising Bree and Michael all those years. And we just were attracted to each other in a professional way. And that was around the time I started trying to elevate my brand. And publicists were trying to get me around locally, and they knew who you guys were, and you were gracious enough to come out. We hadn't met at that point, but when I was watching this last night with Scott, it was surreal because I remember being nervous. I mean, if you go back and roll the tape.
Nervous with the interview?
Yeah. I was thinking, oh my God, who's this Yetta person? No, I'm just nervous in general.
Mike has a tell. I think Mike has a nervous tell. He gets like a big smile. He does this big smile. Then right at the beginning, there's like a big smile. I'm like, that's his tell. He's nervous a little bit. He's just a little bit nervous.
Well, you never seem nervous to me. And we did many stories after that, too.
It was people like you, Scott Passmore, I mean, Tara Hitchcock. They made me comfortable. And I think a lot of it is the ability to do that. And I would like to ask you that. How do you do that? How do you make people? You're interviewing some pretty big people. Little John, Henry Winkler. I mean,
oh my gosh,
the Jacksons. You got to tell us some stories here. Like, how do you do this? And how do you get people comfortable?
First of all, I don't think it's something that you do. I think it's something that you don't do, right? Like you just have to be yourself. You know, the moment you sit down with someone and you're like, so, you know, and you know, one of my other things too is, and you can't help this because this is just the business, but microphones, the stick ones, no. Because that's intimidating. Yeah. Right?
It changes the dynamic.
That's why we have these microphones.
That's why we had to stop the production here. You forget that it's there. So, you know, I guess what I mean by the things that you don't do is don't try to be something when you're talking to somebody. You know, we are the same people. We're all the same. So let's talk as if we are the same person, right? And you tell me your story. I got a different story than yours. And that's how I feel about it. Maybe there is something I'm doing, but I'm also very woo-woo and I feel energies. You know, I sit down and during the small talk, I can figure out some things, right?
Give me some of those like Scott Passmore came on and he talked about some of those things you do in 30 seconds to get rapport. What are some of your little tricks? What
does he say you do in 30 seconds?
You know, get rapport to get the person liking you and warm up to them.
I don't know if it's rapport. I just think you just have to figure out. I'm still floored that I didn't see your big smile thing, because I usually pick up.
You'll see it. Go back and rewatch.
You won't be able to unsee it now. I apologize in advance.
Now, but I would have normally picked up on that. I think I was just like, oh my gosh, Vicki.
Yeah, you weren't there for me. You were there for Vicki anyway. Let's be real. She wasn't there for Michael.
Giving myself an excuse for not picking up on that, but I just. You know, I don't look at people like they're up here. I don't look at people like they're down here. I just talk to people. That's just it, period.
That's a skill, though, to get that comfortable, I think, and to stay that grounded. I do. I think it.
Well, why would you be uncomfortable?
I think people are intimidated. They're intimidated maybe by somebody's power, by their presence. You talked about that energy. Some people who are really powerful, have big status, a lot of money or whatever, that comes out of their kind of inner bubble, and that can be intimidating for people.
Yeah, you know, I've had some instances where, you know, people weren't nice, right? And if I say the name, would you bleep it out?
Well, tell.
I'll tell you. So I'm going to give you one that was a while ago when I was at Fox, and I'll give you one that just happened. So
That's disappointing.
That is disappointing.
well,
My immediate reaction was, damn, that's disappointing.
he was probably one of my worst.
Come on.
Oh.
I know. And the good news is I didn't watch any of that stuff. He was here. He was here in Scottsdale, and he was at the film festival. He had done his directorial debut. Do you remember that movie?
Mm-hmm.
And at the time, the star of that movie was somebody who's big now but wasn't big then, and she was a little kid in that movie. And I'm one of those people that I haven't watched any of the classics. Ask me about Men in Black. I haven't seen it.
Oh, we're not letting you off though. We want to hear the rest of this.
So anyways, long story. So I'm looking at this. They made us watch the movie before we interviewed him. So I'm sitting there with my cameraman, and I go, that little girl looks like somebody. And his name is Rick. And I go, Rick, who does she look like? She looks like somebody. So as it turns out, it was a grown woman who was in a movie with him called. I didn't see the movie, but Rick figured it out. So we're done with the movie. We come out and we go, and I go, Lauren, he goes, what's your name? I go, Yetta. He goes, what kind of name is that? So immediately I'm like, it's a Jewish name. And he goes, oh, really? I go, yep, sure is. Because what are we doing? Right?
Yeah, that's
So then I move on and I go,
so aggressive.
That's so weird.
it's so weird. And again, back to how do you navigate that? It's like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
Like, are we going to fight about my name? Like, what are we doing?
Wow.
So so then I move on and I go, that little girl in the movie looks like the woman who was in this movie. And he goes, and I go, yes. Are they related? And he goes, no. And please don't say that again. And I go, why? He goes, because you can't get actresses confused. I said, well, and I should have let it go. I should have let it go.
In hindsight.
Let's just be clear. And I go, well, I'm not getting them confused. I told you they look alike. She's a little girl. The other one is a woman.
Shame in that moment, right?
Should have let it go. I should have. And he goes, they don't look alike, and don't say it again. And I go, well, what's going to happen?
You ready to go?
Ready to go. She's ready to go. She's not afraid. Yeah.
Like in the
Needless to say, my camera is back here, my cameraman. I go, it's like, what on earth? And so he goes, don't say it again or else. I go, or else what? So his people come in and they go, movie. I go, okay. So now,
wow.
Now you got to interview him.
super awkward.
Yeah.
I got nothing.
Off on a tough start.
Got nothing out of that interview.
All right, what's the other one?
No. And then I had to still put the story together.
That's
The whole
hard.
thing. It was hard.
You're affected. You can't unring the bell.
The other story was only a few months ago, and it was, you might be sad about this. I was actually sad about this. Are you going to bleep this out?
Just tell me it wasn't the Jacksons.
No.
You got to tell us about the Jacksons. It's not the Jacksons.
The Jacks were great.
Okay, well, two is it first, and let's get to the Jacksons. Oh, man, well, that's not surprising.
I can see an angle where, but I'm just thinking about his character.
Yeah.
I'm not really thinking about him necessarily.
It's not surprising. I was surprised.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
And so they're getting his mics together and me trying to be woo woo and feel the energy. I'm like, so when did you get into town? He's like, I don't do small talk.
We got to pick that one up. Hey, we don't do small talk at What's Your Story. We get right to it.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I said, what? He goes, I'm not good at I'm not good at it. So he's this way, I'm this way. And there's somebody sitting there and he goes, you're in my eye line. I need you to move. And I was like,
wow.
So I'm feeling this out. I'm a feeler. And in my head, I'm going, I got to do an interview. Remember, don't take the...
Did you have that thought?
I did.
You did.
Because what I did wrong with was
you dug in.
I dug in before I got to my stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, by the way, the ending was he kicked me out.
Wow.
Anyways, so I go, okay, tell me about because I loved.
Yeah,
loved
it's great.
him.
It's great.
And so I felt like we had something, like and I go, oh my gosh, everybody loved you in that movie. Are you similar at all to that character? Because I had already picked up that he was.
Yeah.
You're like, let me give you a tip.
He wasn't really acting very much.
Right? I'm like, were you acting? So he goes, that's the thing. People think they know you and they don't know you. And I was like, oh shit. Here we go. And I go, well, I don't think I know you. I'm asking, is there any similarity between you and no?
Wow. That's interesting.
But how do you talk about the recovery part? Like, how do you go from those two type of interviews and create a narrative and a story that in theory, I think is supposed to make them look good and elevate their work, who they are, when your experience personally is the total opposite of that?
Well, it's a great question. I just let that be what it was. I mean, because one of the things that I do when it comes to interviewing celebrities is I ask people before I even get to them, I ask people, what do you think about, what do you think? In the newsroom, I ask people. So it just won't be me and my perspective. Being a bit more than it was about the movie, unfortunately. We got there. We got to the point where he was like, I'm sorry that I was a grouch when I first got here. So I was able to get the meat and potatoes from our interview because he warmed up and he stopped doing whatever that was.
But how did you do that? If you tried to describe it, and I know it's hard, especially when it comes so natural to you, but pretend you're trying to coach Mike and I.
I think I just don't take the bait. Remember I was telling you, we were talking about kids before we started rolling, and my kid was having kind of a tantrum this morning in the car, and I just let her do it, right? Yeah. There is some power in letting people hear themselves and feel what they're doing, I think. Mm-hmm. And so when he's like, I don't do small talk, I was like, oh, okay.
Wow. That's like sticking out your hand, shake someone's hand, they don't shake it back. That's bad.
And I do believe, and I don't remember exactly how that went down, but I do believe I asked him again, like, what time did you get to Phoenix, though?
Yes. So for real, like, I really want to know.
For real, I kind of wanted to know that. And he's like, I got here on 2, and I've been in my hotel. And I was like, oh, okay. Where are you staying? And they don't have a choice. And it's not trick. I don't want to make it seem like I'm tricking people, because that's not what I mean. It's just, I think people who do things like that are used to you reacting to it. And I think when there's no reaction, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
And there's a camera rolling. So good luck with that.
Yeah. All right. So Jacksons, you had to have a reaction there. Tell us this right here.
The Jacksons, I don't consider a lot of interviews hard because it's all about the people, the person, and their story. So there can't be a wrong way to do it, right? But with the Jacksons, I felt like it was hard because it's the Jacksons, right? And I feel like there's a lot of lines that you can cross there unintentionally. There could be a line that you cross by just talking about Michael.
Mm-hmm.
Invisible lines potentially too.
Yeah. Like you just never know. And the family dynamics, it's been so public, all the stuff. So I was very nervous about where to go. And also they're performing the Jackson 5 songs, and it's only 2 of them. So I was like, I did my polling, and what I thought was surprising is nobody really had questions. I was like, what do you want to know about them? People were kind of like, I don't know. Like, what's their favorite song? And I go, do you really care? Like what their favorite song is? And I couldn't, and I talked to a lot of people about what they want to know from the Jacksons, and nobody could really conjure up anything. So, so that one was hard for me. And
what'd you want to know? Like, interview us, like, if you had to be selfish, what did you want to know?
You think it's because so much is out there already? So you're like, what story is left to tell?
I mean, at the end of the day, they're the Jacksons. They're legendary. They're royalty.
Music royalty. Absolutely.
Royalty. And, the stuff that I want to know may not be respectful, or to them it may not be, or it may be touchy, right? I mean, imagine going through that yourselves, all of that. So, I think I wanted to know why they're doing this. Why are you still performing? Because they're like in their 70s.
Wow.
And even me wanting to know that, I was like, is that rude?
Yeah.
And you're on social media, and you had some video out that you put in the public domain, which was awesome, by the way.
I put the episode out, so I'm going to be very careful on what I say about it. But at the end of the interview, I said to them, well, I don't want to ask you to sing with me, but I might. Like right now, I may not ask you, but I might. And they go, don't. And I go, oh, okay. And they go, but if you come to our show, we'll bring you on stage. And I said, shut up. And they go, no, we will.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
So that's the video you're talking about. I went to the concert. It was at Wild Horse Pass, and they really brought me on stage.
Oh my gosh.
They were like, come to this place after Heartbreak Hotel. And I was like, shut up.
Did they say anything to you like, do you actually know how to sing?
No,
There's no like, do you know how to carry a tune?
No, I really didn't think that they were going to do it, to be honest. But I also wanted to see them, so I wasn't going to lose by going. So when they called me back, their manager, I go, what's about to happen? Give me a hint. He goes, I don't know. And so then they start doing their hand signals, and then Jackie's like, and I'm like, oh my God, I don't know what's going to happen. So
You gotta go on it. Social media. It's on Instagram right now, right? So more to come.
Instagram, and it's a little teaser, but the interview was very good. And, ironically, that day, the trailer came out for the movie that's upcoming with them. So in my head, it was safe to ask about it because I was like, oh, this is fair. This is fair game. I can ask about it. And I was like, I shouldn't have asked about that.
Wow. So I'm a hip hop guy. I got to ask about Little John. Tell us a little bit about Little John. Was that a good one?
Oh, yeah, of course.
ATL, right?
That's ATL.
You represent?
Yeah. And, again, I started in radio in this business. So I worked with him before. I was an intern when he was working there. Lil Jon was not a DJ, but he was one of those guys, if you're driving in the middle of the night on a Saturday and you hear like a remix, the songs are all mixed in together. That was his job. So, and we're about 4 years apart in age. So
he's 26.
He's 26 and I'm 22. Yeah. So it was fun because his story is so different than what you think. He's a meditation guy. He's making meditation albums now. I don't know if you've seen him, but he's, I think, 54 years old, and he's transformed his body.
Yeah, I saw that.
Have you seen that?
Yeah, I saw that. He looks good.
He looks great.
But the character though, does he turn that on and off? Because the whole, that he gets it, because he has that onstage character that he does, the voice and the character.
Yes.
When you're doing an interview, some people never leave that character, or some people just throw you off. I mean, Will Ferrell, sometimes he'll come in and just be serious as hell. Sometimes he's just funny as hell.
He's a great character the whole time.
You don't know what you get.
Well, to me, and probably only to me, Lil Jon represents Atlanta. That energy is Atlanta. Like the song, so to me, he's the same person talking about meditations that he is on the hip hop albums. To me, he's what you think he is. So no, I don't think he turns it off. I mean, he wasn't like, he wasn't doing all that in the interview. I also had to be careful because we don't have rights to play music in our stuff, which sucks. So that's another reason why I kind of hate interviewing. I want to interview the musicians, but I hate that we can't play their music. Yeah. So we had this random, like, generic Little John sounding music that worked, but it wasn't his stuff. So yes, no, I think that he is pretty authentic, and and maybe it's because of the history. He's been around. He's around my people.
3 decades.
We work in the same circles, and we have the same friends.
So. That's great. 3 decades. Yeah. People don't realize that he's been around that long.
4 decades.
I'm going to pivot because we're all parents here. You ready for this one?
Yeah.
Family. I know Mama Bear over here.
Yeah.
So when we need, you can talk as much or little as you want about your kids, but the toughest part about parenting, here we are in the era of social media. One of the books I'm reading right now, it talks a lot, Hate, H-A-D-A-T, it talks about the anxious generation. Mm-hmm. It's one of the books that we talked about on our podcast, and the impacts it has on teenagers. And you have teens like I do. Tell us from a mother's perspective, because you have daughters. I mean, toughest thing that you face as a mother in this day and age?
one of the things that I've learned, thank goodness, from doing interviews, and it was way before my kids became their ages. There was this guy I interviewed, his name escapes me, but he worked for Google, and he lives here, and his job was to create programming for kids in schools. I forgot the name of his title. But one of the things he said to me, and I would say it's been about 8 years ago, I asked him about, time on social media, time on the tablets. And he said to me that, parents got it wrong on that one. And I'm not saying that I agree with him, but it gave me a different perspective. He said, let the kids go. Screen time, don't worry about that. Let them go, because that's going to be their lives. These phones and all this technology. And he held up the iPhone and he goes, this is going to be the oldest computer they know. So you have to let that go. Now, do you have to screen what they do in the amount of time? Sure. But you have to let them go on that. Now, that doesn't mean I'm letting my kids go on TikTok and all that stuff. As a matter of fact, my 15-year-old, I just put the time limits on her. I didn't do it before. But it's what I've learned is it becomes so debilitating, and they're young and they're kids and they don't understand. As a parent, you have to see that the priorities get all screwed up when they get on that thing. And I mean, even as adults, we get on here and we don't know when to stop ourselves. Sometimes we're like, why have I been on here for 3
we're
hours?
grown adults and we don't have the self-control.
We don't have the
Let alone teenagers.
No, the teenagers don't.
Yeah.
So what starts happening is you start seeing a flip in priorities, and then you have to, and I felt really bad. I mean, this is going to ruffle some feathers, but I've always considered my older one pretty responsible on that stuff. And then I just started noticing some behaviors in her where I was like, okay, I'm going to have to clamp down on this. I don't know the answer to the question. I just think that this is going to be part of their world. And how do us old folks figure out that this is going to be, how do you manage that?
Yeah.
Because that wasn't part of our world when we were younger. So what do? Do you let it be and you just keep talking to them? Do you set the parameters? Because they still find a way, probably.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I
tough.
think that is a hard one. I think it requires parents to go, do you have to let them figure it out? And you just keep pumping the information in them. And
It's a tough one.
that's really hard. I don't think there's
Nobody has the answer for that.
I don't care
To be
how
clear.
many limits you put on their phones.
Yeah.
They're still going to gravitate over there. So what do you do about that? What can you do?
Well, one thing, this is, what do I know? But one thing is, if you're going to let them use it, find something that they're passionate about, that they can use it for.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not just doom scrolling and random whatever.
Doom scrolling is the
It's like, oh, I'm on this because I'm trying to learn about XYZ.
Yeah, but can you police that?
It's not about policing it. I don't have, this is my opinion. And again, I don't know. What do I know? But I'm not trying to police it. I'm trying to guide them towards something they're interested in.
Right.
So for example, my youngest son, God bless him, has become super entrepreneurial on his own a little bit. He came up to me one day and was like, hey, tell me about the stock market or something like that. I'm like, what is this guy talking about? He's 15 years old at the time. Yes.
Okay.
So he starts asking me these random questions and I can barely answer it. I'm like, you're just about as literate as me on this already. So then he's like, can you tell me a little bit about the Japanese yen? I'm reading about this thing, trading it against the US dollar and these futures and whatnot.
This is good.
And I'm like, okay, I'm going to remove your limits on your phone or whatever.
Yeah.
And then he was asking about like a laptop to be able to do more and be more productive. And I'm like, okay, all summer long, we're going to do all these chores. I'm going to give you all these jobs. You're going to work for me in my business. I'm going to pay you. And then we're going to use that money to buy a laptop.
Right.
So I have been choosing to let him and not get on him about screen time and stuff because I'm noticing now a shift from doom scrolling to he's studying and he's learning about these things. He's drop shipping golf clubs now. This kid is like making money and hustling.
And find it.
Yes. Now, my older one, I haven't been able to figure that part out yet.
The older one.
No, that's my younger one. That's my sophomore who just turned 16.
Right.
The older one, I haven't been able to find that same kind of pathway,
right.
Not for lack of effort, but I just haven't been able to find the pathway. So I think one idea could be, don't restrict them as much so long as they're chasing something that they believe in. Could be music, it could be whatever, right?
Yeah, it's interesting. Again, that Google guy planted that in my head way before it was time, right? I think I had babies at that point. But the screen time just by itself is not the answer. So and
the screen time itself is not necessarily the problem.
It's not the problem
either. It's what are you doing?
What they're doing. Yeah. And I wonder too, I just got to ask you this one question. Do you think that the initial screen time that you had on your son created a space where he needed to find something interesting?
I think so.
You think that's what?
I do think so.
I do think that once you cut down on it, maybe you want to hope so that they will find a niche, or something, where they can do exactly that. I think that's
and they're paying attention, right? So they know what mom or dad is doing or talking about. Like I work from home. Lord knows how many times they've heard me on business calls or whatever. So they're absorbing stuff a little bit. And some of their interests maybe start to develop, or some curiosities about what's mom do for work, or how does she do this, that, and the other, right? And I think if I was too restrictive early on, he wouldn't have been able to necessarily navigate on his own. And to the best of our, it's totally tough. But to the best of our ability, as long as you're creating like a safe, comfortable, loving kind of environment, you're hoping that the thing they find is not something catastrophic or like terrible, right?
It's really good advice, I think. And that's kind of where I'm going with that. It's not one thing. And we have to realize that this world that they're in is not the world that we're in.
Yeah.
So we can't do the same things or enforce the same things that were enforced on us, because they're living in their world is so different. I mean, we still remember when there were no phones recording everything. That they don't know that. That's been their world since the beginning.
Yeah, that's amazing to me. It's so hard to relate.
It's been there their whole lives.
So if I were to sit down with the two of them behind your back and say, "What's mom like?" What would they tell me?
Ooh, my kids, they always call me. It's funny. They always call me straight face.
That's the even keel.
I don't even know if it's even keel. I think it's just when stuff is going crazy, I just, right? And they go, "Mom, why do you have a straight face? I'm trying to tell you what happened." I didn't say anything.
I never would have thought that of you. You're not straight faced to me.
Well, to them I am. And they would say, that's, what if you gave them some crazy scenario, if there was like a big fight, and what would your mom do? They go, she would have a straight face and she would just sit there and she would.
That's different though, because maybe you've never experience her personality in chaos,
right?
That's true,
or in disaster. Everything's going off around her. Right. Normally, like you're very expressive, you're emotive, but then in chaos, like
I'm like, nope. What are we doing?
Calm down.
Right?
Yeah.
One of the questions I love asking.
What does that name come from? Nope. It's Jewish. What are we doing?
It came from my parents. That's where it came from.
Never gonna forget that one.
That's what I think sometimes when people say stuff like that to me, I always replay it in my head. I'm like, damn, I wish I had a better one-liner.
If you shut it down, you'll figure it out. You'll be like, are you the kid on Pee-wee's Playhouse?
Never forget that one.
Best response.
I can't ring the bell on that one, man.
Aren't you that guy?
Yeah.
All right. So here's what. So you can sit down with three people, history or otherwise, that you'd want to sit down and have a meal with. Who would they be?
Have a meal with?
Yeah, just sit down. Three people in history. Don't have to be alive. Could be anybody in the world in history.
And we can talk about anything?
Anything.
Well, it's gonna be Oprah.
Oprah's number one.
Oprah's number one. I'm gonna go back to the Jacksons. Michael Jackson. I just need to know about that life. How did he do that? Right? Like,
especially at such a young age too, during that time.
I mean, forget all the drama and the chaos in their childhood, but he was the biggest star that we will ever see. How do you do that? So he's number two. Well, he might be number one. Because I got the same question for her. She's one of the greatest. How do you do that? And she's grounded. How do you stay grounded in this world?
Yeah.
To the degree that Oprah is, right? Who is the third? Oh, gosh. You know who I did talk to? I mean, this is going to be my third answer. It shouldn't be, but it will be. I spoke with Jay Shetty,
Wow.
and to me, he's amazing. Like, how do you just, obviously you can tell here, my goal is to stay grounded, especially in my business. There's so much chaos. And not only is there chaos, but I have to tell you about it.
You got to deliver bad news sometimes.
Deliver it, but I have to be careful that I'm taking care of myself too, right? Because you can't constantly deliver this stuff and be okay, if that makes sense. And then for me now, it's, oh my gosh, public, here's what's going on in the news, and this sucks. And then over here, I'm like, tell me about your brother. So it's like I got these two type of vibes that I have to be in constantly. So that's a lot.
And there's not too many people in media in general that do that in the country. I mean, you think about somebody like Anderson Cooper, or any it doesn't matter what it's left, right. You can think of any of the major talking heads or any of the experts or people around for a long time. They're niched down.
Yeah.
And you have such an ability to be, not just because of your skill set, to sit down with people, which is amazing. That's a big part of it. But that's the mental part of it, to be able to say, hey, I'm going to be able to deliver the news here. And then tonight I'm going to be doing this magazine show or doing a documentary or doing something that's personal interview with Jackson's and make it fun and airy. There's not too many people that do that.
Well, I'm going to have to think about that because I've never thought about that before. And maybe that's exactly what I'm saying. It's incredibly tough. And I just don't want to lose myself in all of that. Right?
Yeah, well, you have to dramatically context shift. Dramatically.
It's almost like I have a split personality, and I don't have a split personality.
But that makes sense about how you're then drawn to grounded kind of thing, because you're looking for steady.
I'm looking for steady.
Because you're dealing in worlds that are chaotic.
Right. And that's why when I have people who are like, blah, when I'm trying to talk to them, I'm like, no, we're not doing that.
Yeah.
So what are your tips? How do you stay grounded? What do you do? What are some of the tips, Yetta's tips on staying grounded?
I don't think I have a lot of tips. I can tell you that right now.
You have some rituals, things that people don't know about out there.
I'm a very simple person. I know when bait is there, and I know when to take it and when not to take it. Right? And you have to remember, you also have to remember that people have bad days. And sometimes when stuff is directed towards you, it's not really for you. It's about stuff that they've got going on. I have no idea why that ticked the person off when I said, how long you been in town? Like, really? I have no idea. I mean, I have some idea where he was going with, where's that name? I have some idea on why he was pissed off that I said Jewish, but that's not my problem. That's my name.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I think it's a normal question. You don't live in Phoenix. When did you get here today? I'm promoting your show. I'm trying to help you. I'm here to hype you up. So are we going to fight?
Crazy.
Or are we going to hype you up?
Would be the biggest.
I don't have to say all that, but that's kind of where I'm coming from.
Do you find it harder to stay grounded the way that media has changed and evolved? Like, you're a radio star, then you're in TV, and now, arguably, non-televised media, arguably, is more popular.
It is.
And the mechanism to deliver news about any kind and everything is totally different.
Correct.
So you said something about Oprah and Michael, like, how do you do that?
Yeah.
Right? Well, they were the biggest star in the world in the 80s.
Before all of this.
Yeah. I can't even fathom the amount of publicity, popularity, they used to be everywhere right now, at the peak of their powers and everything like that.
Right.
Do you find that harder for yourself in your own kind of personal notoriety in the area, in the town and everything like that? Or has that changed with the guests that you interview and talk to? Like, are they different? Like, a star from today is different than a star from 30 years ago because of the media?
Don't be humble. People know you in this town.
I am very good because I'm sitting here going, well, people may not know me like that.
No, they do.
No, but I don't really. All I can say is, I've been in the. There's a lot of people who've been in the business. Anderson Cooper is a great example because while he's on a different scale than me, he started a long time ago, and he's had to navigate and do some things differently, as we all have. So it's a unique space that I'm in, because I did start when there was no social media, right? I did start then, and things have changed from 90, I think it was 98 when I got in this, until now. And I can't tell you what I've done. I've just been able to be nimble.
But that's one thing that you've done right there. Being nimble, being flexible,
right.
being curious, willing to learn new skill sets and whatnot. Even the act of learning and getting on social media.
I guess this is the first time I'm thinking about it since you're asking me. One thing I can say, and I don't want to sound, like, nobody gets this, but I can say one of the best things you can do if you're in this space is to be yourself, because number one, that's never going to change. So if you go from, having anchor hair to wearing the suits.
Anchor hair. I've never heard that expression before.
Well, now it's 2025 and that's not in. So now you have to change it. But if you were always who you were, it's not a lot of change that you have to do. You just have to understand the audience, and I think one thing the audience is leaning toward, to your point, is this type of stuff, because it's less manufactured and more raw. And I think people are gravitating toward real stuff these days more than they ever were. I think they always have been. I think people who are stars like Anderson Cooper, people love him because he's just normal. Right?
Relatable. He's
very relatable, and you don't feel like he's putting on. And he's always been good in that. So now that people are going, screw that, we want to watch this, he's still that guy.
Yeah, that's
right?
so true. Yeah.
So I don't think you feel like you've done something wildly different in this new era of things, because you were always being yourself in the first place.
Yeah.
That's good.
That's good.
Yeah.
All right, so as we wrap up, we always have a series of rapid fire questions. You ready?
Oh, man.
All right, favorite book?
Oh.
All time, anything. Favorite book? Or even something you're currently reading. You got to tell us.
I lost it. Can we come back to it?
All right.
I see the cover.
All right.
Oh, my God.
You know who wrote it?
Is
it recent?
It's not that old.
That's all right.
Let's just do Let Them for now. That's not it, though.
Let Them's good.
Let's do that for now. But
My
that's
girl Mel. She's Mel.
That's on topic for what we talked about today a little bit.
Biggest piece of advice you give yourself, your younger self. Like, you have daughters now, so you're not, they hear you different because you're mama, but you're going to go back and talk to yourself. What do you tell yourself?
Oh, I would say, don't worry about it. Everything's going to be fine.
Really? Wow.
Everything works out.
Yeah.
Everything works out.
What is the next chapter? This has been a theme of our show. Unbeknownst to us, people come on here and talk about the 1.0 version, the 2.0 version. So what's the next chapter for Yetta, so we can keep an eye out for that?
Well, I'm probably going to be here in the studio.
I love it.
And we have a nice little cartoon picture of myself right here. And I'm going to be doing more of the same stuff.
We had to do cartoon faces because we're not good looking guys.
That's right.
Yours will be an actual image. You're beautiful and awesome.
Mine makes me look so young.
Oh my God. That's yours will be a real picture, not these. All right. Lastly, we always finish with things that you're working on that you can tell us about. You got any projects coming up? The show that you're working, you get to brag a little bit. Tell us what you're doing so we can hear what you're doing.
Well, I can tell you about the, I'm not crazy. I'm not going to come over here and tell you everything.
All right.
For my show, it's, it comes on Tuesday nights at 8:30, unless there's a Suns game, which is tonight. So don't watch tonight. Sorry to get back to this, but I interviewed Matt Ishbia, and they kind of gave him to me. I was like, oh, I'm not a sport. I'm the worst. Don't ask me anything about sports. I mean, I'll be writing a script and I'll go, is it a football court or are there innings? I don't know. So they go and they'll go get the sports guys. And I'm like, I don't know anything about this. And I've seen Matt Ishbia interview, and he's very sports and very business. And I am don't want to know about that. So I sit and I'm going to do a tease, because that show was supposed to air tonight, but there's a Suns game. So it's going to air next week. I sat down with Matt and I go, I don't want to talk to you about sports. The sports guys told me to ask me about being a walk-on player when I was like, I don't.
You're like, what's that mean?
I don't care. I don't know what that is. Is that a red shirt? I don't know. So I go, Matt, I'm not going to talk to you about sports. And he says, that's fine. I go, no, you don't understand. I'm not. So long story short, I kept asking Matt if he was a fun guy. He goes, I'm so boring. There's really nothing to ask me about. I don't have a fun life. And I go, you own an NBA team. You've got to be fun. He goes, I'm not. So we did this whole interview. And I asked him about if he wants to be a son. Does he want to suit up, go out there? And it was good. But at the end of the interview, he goes, I think I have something that you want to hear. And I go, what is it? And he tells me, I'm not going to give it away, but think Backstreet Boys, the actual group. He and the Backstreet Boys had a moment.
Wow.
Okay.
Who would have thought that?
And I don't think anybody knew that. The sports guys were sitting there watching this interview and everybody like gasped.
If he has a Backstreet moment, she has a Jackson's moment.
Yeah.
You know, Ishbia has a Backstreet Boys moment.
It took him an hour to figure that out, though.
Yeah.
But you kept chipping.
You got it, though. You got it out.
You cannot own an NBA team and the youngest guy to ever do it. And you own a mortgage company. You're this rich billionaire guy and you're not fun. I was like, do you sing in the car?
I think a lot of times people in that situation, it's the whole thing about look good, be right, survive.
Yeah.
There's three things we do in our brain. They're always going, he's in that moment going, okay, I got to look good.
See?
I got to be right.
Yep.
And I just got to get through this. I got to survive this interview. So he's got all these three records going in his head. But the end, you won out.
Yeah.
And you're like, no way.
He definitely had to survive it.
Yeah.
I think he was like, what is happening? And he was shook, but it was great. And he is great.
Gosh.
And that interview is next Tuesday at 8:30.
Very
So
I interview some cool people.
we have to bring Yetta back on. This is just a no-brainer. It's a natural fit.
Yeah.
She'll bring us back on when the background is hers.
Yes, we need to come on your show.
Yes.
Yeah.
We would love to come on your show.
Yes. And I
So-
need your services to help me make that
I'm
happen.
all in. I'm all in, and I'm serious. And I recorded it,
The camera.
and I mean it. I'm a man of my word.
Live now.
And you're a woman of your word. You kept your word. You kept me on the show, and I really appreciate that. It
Yeah.
means a lot to us, and we will have you on again. So
To be on my show.
we're waiting for the invitation.
Waiting for the invite.
All right, so that's our next episode. So Mike Lindstrom, my man, Scott Leese, What's Your Story podcast, Yetta Gibson. It's in the can.
Yeah.
Next time.
Nailed it.